Hey guys, welcome to this video. Today's video is aimed at any one of you guys that's doing their GCSEs at the moment and who's interested in applying to medical school in the future. So I'm going to be giving you my advice and tips and tricks about what you can be doing right now when you're aged 15 and 16 in order to maximise your chances of getting into medical school in the future. So if you're somebody who's doing their GCSEs now and who's interested in applying to medical school in the future, then please keep watching. So the first thing I'll say is to do your research. There's so many platforms out there, there are books, there are websites that you can be reading and looking at to find out what it's like to be a doctor, what it's like to be in medical school, what it's like to apply to medicine. For people who are in the UK, I'm sure your school has a specific career centre that you can go to. Speak to your careers advisor and really find out what it's like to be a doctor and to do medicine and to go to medical school and actually survive to the end of medical school. Now these are a lot of different components and you're not going to find them in just one place. So what I'll say about careers advisors is they're there to advise you. They're not there to tell you exactly what to do and exactly what not to do. If somebody tells you that you're not good enough to do medicine, which is, I heard that when I was at GCSE level, somebody told me that I should consider doing nursing because I wasn't the right person to do medicine. If somebody tells you that, you don't have to take what they say. These people are just careers advisors. They're not medicine admissions tutors, they're not doctors, and they haven't gone through medical school, so they don't know what the hell they're talking about really. Yeah, they can advise you about where you can look about being a doctor and where you can look about how to do medicine and things like that, how to apply to medicine, sorry, but they can't tell you that you can't apply to medicine because at the end of the day, it's you that's going to be doing the work, it's you that's going to be making the applications, so they don't know anything. So yeah, let them advise you as to where you can look, but don't let them tell you that you can't do medicine because they don't know anything. Now let's talk about subjects. At GCSE you only need to do 3 compulsory subjects. The rest of the subjects that you can do whatever you want to do. The 3 compulsory subjects are maths, English and science. Now you can do science as separate sciences, i.e. chemistry, biology and physics separately, or you can do them as a double science, a triple award science, or whatever science your school does, as long as you do science. Science, English and maths are the basic subjects that you need to apply to medicine. The rest of the subjects that you pick at GCSE, it's a free-for-all. You can do whatever subject you want. I did geography, I did statistics, I did childcare and development. If you're somebody who likes to do art or somebody who likes to do sport, then you can do whatever subject you want. There's no requirement as to a certain set of subjects that you need to do besides maths, English and science. You can do whatever subject you want to do basically. Okay, let's talk about grades. There's no fuffing around here. You really need to have good grades at GCSE to apply to medical school. Broadly speaking, there's no specific minimum grades that you need to achieve at GCSE in order to apply, but specific universities have specific minimum entry requirements that they need you to achieve in order to apply to them, basically. So if you want to apply to Birmingham University, for example, then you need to achieve at least 7 A stars at GCSE in order to be considered by them. If you're somebody who hasn't got 7 A stars at GCSEs, then you can't apply to Birmingham. It's as simple as that. Nottingham University, for example, say that you need at least a B in English, Maths and Science. So again, if you're somebody who hasn't got a B in English, Maths and Science, then you can't apply to Nottingham University. So my advice is to get as many A stars and as many A's as you can at GCSE, because that makes your life really, really easy when you get to applying. Because if you're somebody who, say, has B's and C's, then it's going to be harder for you to convince an admissions tutor that you're academically competent to do medicine. Medicine is a really hard subject to study and you need to have a really good academic profile, and by having good GCSE grades you can prove that you have a good academic background and you can be, you're competent enough to do medicine, if you get what I mean. The more A stars and A's that you have, the easier a task an admissions tutor has, because they're going to look at you and they're going to see your A stars and your A's and they're going to think, this person is academically competent, so I want to read on the application, I want to know what they've achieved at A level, I want to see what extracurricular activities they've done. And if you tick all those other boxes, then your chances of getting into medical school are a lot better than somebody who doesn't tick all those boxes. boxes. So a good GCSE academic background is a good thing to have. Okay, so the final thing we'll talk about is extracurricular activities. These are things like work experience, volunteering, any other things that you do outside of school. So if you play sport, or if you play a musical instrument, or anything else that you do outside of your outside of academia. So at GCSE level, it's not really important to have any specific healthcare related extracurricular activity or anything, because you've got some time to achieve that during your A levels. Having said that, if you are somebody who is motivated and somebody who has time, then starting your extracurricular activity profile now is a good thing, because it makes it easier for you to build on it when you get to A levels. So things like work experience in the healthcare sector, if you're able to get work experience within a hospital or within a GP surgery or even within a nursing home, anything just to get you exposure to medicine, find out what it's like to be around people that are not well, to be around doctors, to be around other allied health professionals, other nurses, physiotherapists, speech and language therapists, things like that. If you can get that sort of experience now, then you can only build on it when you get to A levels, and it makes your life a lot easier, because obviously most people leave it late. Most people leave it to A levels to start looking for extracurricular activities in order to write in order to have something to write on their personal statement. But if you're somebody age 15 and 16 who's motivated to do that, then definitely go for it. Now, it's difficult to apply for healthcare related work experience, especially when you're so young, but it's doable. I mean, I did it when I was 15, and anybody else can do it. The way that I did it was I looked at the website of my local hospital, and within that website they have a section about how you can volunteer within the hospital, and within that section they have a section specifically for medical and nursing students that have an interest in doing work experience. Hospitals know that this is something that medical students have to tick in order to this is something that people who are interested in medicine have to tick in order to be considered for medical school. So they have specific people that deal with this within the hospital. So if you're motivated enough, then definitely look at your local hospital's website and apply for work experience now. You can do your work experience during the summer. It doesn't have to be very long. You can do a week or 2 weeks. All you need to do is to show that you've had some exposure to the medical field, to the healthcare sector, and you know what it entails, because this is something that you can talk about during interview, and you can talk about also in your personal statement. Other things that look good at GCSE level for somebody who wants to apply to medical school are things like having positions of responsibility within the school. So if you're a prefect, or if you're the captain of the swimming team or something like that, any position of responsibility looks good when you're writing about it in your personal statement in future, and also gives you something to talk about during interview. The admissions tutor will ask you, give me an example of when you've been a leader, of when you've had a position of responsibility, and you can say, well, during my GCSE I was prefect, or I was captain of the football team, or whatever. This is good stuff that you can talk about during interview and also during your personal statement. So another useful thing that I think is good to do at GCSE level is to go on a summer school program. Now, different universities offer summer school programs to students who are aged 15, 16, 17, and allows them to experience, what it's like to study different subjects within their universities. When I was 15, I went on a summer school program at St. George's University. It was a taster sort of thing to allow students to experience what it's like to do medicine and to study medicine at university. Now, we had exposure to lectures, we had exposure to tutorials, we learned how to do ECGs, how to do peak flow meters, and for a 15-year-old, that's something that's really, really useful, in my opinion, to give you an idea of what it's like to study at university. It was the most fun I'd had, by that time when I was a student, and I definitely recommend it for anybody who has a chance. Different schools have different access to different universities in terms of their summer school programs, but if you're somebody who is interested in doing a summer school program, I will leave a link in the description bar down below for you to look at the different summer school programs that are on offer. There's a specific website that you can look at and see the different programs that are available for students. So if you want to do medicine, you can look for the medicine specific summer school programs, and you can apply to them, and you can go off and spend your summer doing that. It's not your whole summer, it's like a week or 2 weeks, but it's really, really useful, and it's really, really fun because you get to meet a lot of different people, you get to learn new things, and you get something that you can talk about during your your interview or in your personal statement. And it's something that I feel is actually going to make you realize if you really, really want to do medicine, because this is as close as you're going to get to studying medicine when you're 15 or 16. So I definitely recommend applying to a summer school program. So yeah, check out the description bar, and I'll have a link to the website that you can look at to find different programs. So in summary, the things that you need to worry about now during your GCSEs, if you're somebody who wants to apply to medical school, are number one, getting really good grades at GCSE. So as many A stars and as many A's that you can, because that makes your life really easy. Number two, do the basic subjects that everybody at GCSE does, so maths, English and science. The other subjects that are on offer, you can do whatever you want. If you want to do art, if you want to do sport, then go ahead, do all that if you want to do it. Understand if medicine is the right thing for you to do. Now, in order to do that, you need to do your research, speak to a careers advisor, go to your career centre, read prospectuses from different universities talking about medicine. And also the best thing that I feel you can do is go on a summer school program. So look in the description bar, and I'll have that website that I've spoken about. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but look in the description bar, I'll put it there, and you can apply to as many summer school programs as you can during the summer, and you can spend a week or 2 weeks at different universities learning or experiencing what it's like to be a medical student. I think this is really fun. This is something that I did when I was 15, and I highly recommend it to anybody who has an interest in applying to medicine. And finally, extracurricular activities. If you're somebody that's motivated, if you're somebody that's organized, then you can get your extracurricular activities started now, so you can go and have your exposure to healthcare in terms of getting shadowing in a hospital, or volunteering experience, or volunteering in a GP surgery. It doesn't have to be for a long time, just like a week or 2 weeks, just as long as you have exposure to healthcare. If you are a prefect, then obviously nurture that and continue to be a prefect during your GCSE time. If you're captain of the sports team, captain of the tennis team, or whatever, then again continue to nurture that, because all that stuff is something that you can build on during your A-levels, and something that's going to look really good on your personal statement when you get to do it, and something that's going to look really good and sound really good when you talk about it during interview, when you go on and apply to medical school. So guys, hopefully that's been useful for you guys that are doing GCSEs at the moment. As I've already said, if you're doing A-levels, or if you're somebody who hasn't got the conventional grades but still wants to do medicine, then look out for another video that I'm going to do, because I'm going to cover all that in a whole separate video. If you have any other specific comments, then please leave them in the comments section down below, or you can contact me on Instagram or Twitter or wherever. I'll leave all my contact details in the description bar down below, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video.